Hello, I'm Shaun Richards of Notayesmanseconomics, and today I'd like to take you on a little trip to Denver in Colorado. Not for the way I used to look at it, because of course it's the hurry-up offence of John Elway, was what Denver was famous for a few years back. But last night, quite a big deal of a speech was given by the Chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. What am I discussing here? Well, we have the opening of what will be called QE4. So the champagne bottle was crashed on the side of the ship and it's about to come down the slipway. How does this work? What has happened here? Well, those of you that have followed the updates on the repo crisis in the United States will already have some sort of an idea. For those of you that don't, let me give you a quick summary. For a period, the US Federal Reserve lost control of overnight interest rates. Money markets were pushing it above the range that it sets. Why is this a big deal? Well, this is one of the main functions of a central bank, to set the interest rate, specifically the overnight interest rate. And they were unable to do that for a while. So there was the problem, a clear failure. What I call the second element of what a central bank does. Step one is having a currency. So in response to that, they've started having overnight and fortnightly repos to get cash into the system, because this is the problem. There's a shortage of cash. Now here's the thing, not necessarily an overall shortage, but in particular places there is one. And this has been another of the lessons of the credit crunch era, in that something that looks like, and the economist word for this, financial word, is fungible, stuff could be switched from one place to another, we find that it can't. So we've seen that happen with terms of interest rates. Now we're seeing it happen with what's called collateral. People back things with certain bits of paper and some of them are not being accepted, or they can't get hold of the ones that they want. So last night, the US Federal Reserve announced that its way of fixing that is going to be that it's going to buy more securities. So back to my original point, this is the QE element, or quantitative easing. It's going to expand its balance sheet back up again. Now, in terms of movements, it got as high as $4.5 trillion, dropped back down towards 3.7. Because of the recent moves adding to the balance sheet, is now a bit under 4 trillion again, just to give you an idea of the sweep of change here. And it'll go back up through 4 trillion probably, as we see more purchases. There's a slight difference in that it'll be buying treasury bills rather than treasury bonds, but the actual impact in terms of money, cash, whatever you want to call it, because it would be electronically provided, being put into the system, more specifically the banks. And this brings us back to the old game, really, in my opinion, which is we keep needing more of this why. If it worked, ditto, why more of it? And we've had approximately 2 years of the US central bank trying to go into the opposite direction, and now we find it stopped, and I doubt it'll be too long before we start hearing some version of full steam ahead again. Now this brings us to what I might call a QE to infinity theme, because of the United States heading back that way. The euro area has recently started again. Japan's ploughing ahead. So that's a pretty wide spread. It may not be too long before my home country, the UK, joins in. But let me give you this from another perspective. If something works, and it's a really good thing, people don't change the name. I started with the idea of John Elway, didn't I? People know that name. But quantitative easing in Japan is now called QQE. In the United States, they're calling it reserve management. Changing the name is a sign of failure. Thank you.